Okay, everybody. So, this is the last chapter of the semester, but this chapter has two parts: male and female reproductive systems. So basically, two chapters. Reproductive system is the most interesting system. Yes. And this is the only system which is completely different in male and female, right? Other systems are same, but reproductive system is totally different between male and female. There are many interesting things in reproductive system. If you see the creatures, some creatures, they have both male and female reproductive systems in the same body. Within the same body have male and female. So it fertilizes itself. Some creatures, they have part of their life, they are male and then they turn to female. So a lot of interesting stories you will hear about reproductive system or read about reproductive system. Human reproductive system, just think that how important is the human reproductive system. If you just think that from this moment in next 100 years, no reproductive system works, then what will happen? Mankind will disappear, right? So it is extremely important in that way. But if you just think individual reproductive system, it is not that important. You know, sometimes we remove the uterus, remove the ovaries, right? It doesn't really, harm you much. Yeah, so those are individual cases. Reproductive system is not essential. You can take the entire reproductive system out, remove, still you will survive. Make sense? But collectively, it is a very important system, right? Which reproductive system works more? What do you think? Male or female?
Female.
Okay. Female voices. No, it is true, right? Male reproductive system main function is production of sperm, right? For offspring, new life. Female reproductive system does the similar thing, production of ovum or egg, right? But female reproductive system does more functions, like ovarian cycle, menstrual cycle. Fertilization occurs inside female reproductive system, right? Then embryo is formed inside female reproductive system. Embryo and fetus. Embryo becomes what? Fetus inside the female reproductive system and deliver childbirth, right? So a number of additional functions are done by what? Female reproductive system. Make sense? So much more functions are performed by female reproductive system, and therefore the female reproductive system is more complicated. You have to spend more time to understand the female reproductive system. Okay? It's more functions, that means more complicated, right? More stuffs are going on there. So today, first we'll see the reproductive systems, male and female. We'll talk a little bit about both. Then we'll talk about the male reproductive system. Okay? So, both male and female reproductive systems have primary organs and accessory organs. So we'll see what are the primary and accessory organs of male and female reproductive systems. Then we'll talk about the male reproductive system. We'll talk about the sperm, pathway of sperm, production of sperm, which is called spermatogenesis. We'll talk about the testis, the male primary reproductive organs. Then we'll talk about the accessory glands. We'll talk about the scrotum, regulation of temperature, and those things. First, as I said, that both male and female reproductive systems have primary and accessory organs. In case of male, primary organs are testis. Okay. In female, primary organs are ovaries. Okay. So 2 testes in male and 2 ovaries in female. The functions of primary reproductive organs in both male and female: number 1, production of sex cells. In case of male, testis produces what? Sperm. So sperm are sex cells in male, and in case of female, ovum or egg or oocyte. Okay, so these are sex cells: sperm and ovum. These are also called gametes. So sex cells are also called what? Gametes. So if I ask you, male gametes are what? Sperm. And female gametes? Ovum or egg. Make sense? Okay. Number 2, another very important function of the primary reproductive organs is production of sex hormones. Production of sex hormones. Male sex hormone is testosterone, and female sex hormones are what? Estrogen, progesterone. Okay, so those are sex hormones. Both are very important. Okay, gametes are important for the production of offspring, right? Sperm fertilizes the ovum or egg, and that's the first cell of new life, right? So to produce new life, we need gametes. We know that, right? And sex hormones regulate a number of functions. We'll talk about that later. Just know that sex hormones are also very important. Okay. Now, the source of testosterone is androgen. So basically, androgen indicates testosterone because testosterone comes from androgen. Now, accessory reproductive organs include ducts. In both male and female, you have tube-like structures. Those are called the ducts. You have glands in both male and female reproductive systems. Okay, and external genitalia. In case of male, external genitalia includes scrotum and penis. In case of female, external genitalia includes vagina, labius majus, labius minus, those structures. So now, why testes and ovaries are called the primary reproductive organs? Because
that's where all the stuff is,
right? Yeah, because if I ask you, just think this way, that can you produce new life without accessory organs? Yes, because now we know that we can take an ovum and a sperm, right, and put in a petri dish, we can fertilize and produce new life outside of the body. So but we need what? We need the sperm and ovum. We cannot produce that. Make sense? So we need the testes and what? Ovaries. Because we need sperm and ovum. But rest of the thing we know that we can do in vitro, outside of the body, right? So those are accessory organs. Without those we can still produce new life, right? But primary organs, the main organs, produce sperm and ovum. Those are essential, right? So now, sex hormones. What are the important functions of the sex hormones? Sex hormones help in the development and function of the reproductive organs. The functions of your testes, the functions of your ovaries and uterus, like ovarian cycle, uterine cycle, all those are controlled by sex hormones. So the reproductive functions are controlled by the sex hormones. Growth and development of secondary sex characteristics. Now, what are the secondary sex characteristics? Very simple. By looking at those features, you separate a male and a female externally. I am repeating again, secondary sex characteristics are the characteristics. By looking at those, you can separate what? Male and female from outside, externally, right? Now if I ask you what are the male secondary sex characteristics, can you name a couple of those?
Adam's apple.
Adam's apple, right?
Facial hair.
Facial hair. What else?
Deep voice.
Deep voice, loud, right? Male voice is loud, female is high pitch. You can listen from far but not loud. Very good. Right? Skeletal muscles, prominence of the skeletal muscles, right? Not always, in general, right? Prominence of the skeletal muscles. Broader shoulder, right? So, baldness. Those are the male secondary sex characteristics given by the sex hormone, male sex hormone, right? You know that if a female girl starts to take testosterone, male sex hormone, girl body, right? In girl's body, those things start to appear, you know that, right? So, we know that sex hormones give those characteristics. Is it clear? Okay. Now, female sex hormone gives female secondary sex characteristics. What are those? Female. How will you separate a male and a female? You always do that. Okay. Voice, right? High pitch.
Breasts.
Breast. Broader hip, right? Subcutaneous fat. So skin looks smooth, right? Under the skin, the distribution of fat is more. Okay, so those are the female secondary sex characteristics, right? Mammary gland or breast, voice, high pitch, broader hip, subcutaneous fat. So those are female secondary sex characteristics given by female sex hormone. Sexual behavior and drive and desire, okay? So those are also controlled by the sex hormones. Okay. Now we'll talk about the male reproductive system. The primary organs are testes and accessory organs are external genitalia or genital organs that I have mentioned, scrotum and penis. Glands. 3 types of glands are present in male reproductive system: seminal vesicles, prostate, and bulbourethral glands. There are 2 seminal vesicles. How many prostate? You all know? 1. 1 prostate and 2 bulbourethral glands. So those are the glands. And we also have ducts, as I have mentioned, tube-like structures in both male and female reproductive system. Okay. In case of male, that is called ductus deferens or vas deferens. We'll see that. It's not listed here. Okay. Now, first we'll talk about the external genitalia. That means scrotum and penis. Scrotum is a sac of skin and superficial fascia. That means, if you see the scrotum, it has a skin, outer skin, and inner layer is a connective tissue layer that is called superficial fascia. Okay? And also there is a muscle, thin layer of muscle here that is called dartus muscle. Okay? So that is the structure of the scrotum. Skin, then you have dartus muscle, and superficial fascia. Now, there is a septum or partition inside the scrotum. And inside the scrotum, you have two testes. Okay? Two testes. So, scrotum houses the testes. There is another muscle here that comes from above and basically this muscle helps to hang the testes inside the scrotum, and this muscle is called cremaster muscle. So, cremaster muscle. Okay? And a very important structure gets out from the testis, that's a duct or tube, that is called ductus deferens or vas deferens. So this is the tube, okay, that takes the sperm out from the testis. We know that testis produce sperm. Sperm is produced inside the testis, okay, and that sperm gets out through the ductus deferens or vas deferens, the tube. Okay. Duct. That's why it is called ductus deferens. Okay. So other structures are here are blood vessels, arteries, veins, testicular artery, testicular vein, lymphatics, nerves. Those structures go everywhere, right, in the body. Arteries, veins, nerves. So all these structures together form the spermatic cord. So this is one spermatic cord, this is another spermatic cord. So this whole thing is the spermatic cord. Probably you have heard this name. Okay. Now if I ask you, inside the spermatic cord, you have what? Which muscle you have? Cremaster muscle. Very good. You have a tube-like structure that is called what? Ductus deferens, right? and you have arteries, testicular artery, testicular vein, right? And nerve plexus or nerve. So those are the things in the spermatic cord. Have you heard the term called vasectomy? That vas difference or ductus difference, the tube. If you just cut it, that's the vasectomy. Make sense? So that is the way, one way, surgical method of birth control, right? So you cut the vas difference, the tube, and that is called vasectomy, which is male birth control surgical method. This is very simple. Okay, you can just do easily. Ask the subject, lie on the table. Okay, here we have the scissors. Okay, scalpel. You can just, because that ductus difference or vas difference is just under the skin here. Okay, in this area it passes through the inguinal area. Okay, so you can just make an incision, take a forceps to take the ductus difference or vas difference out, and just cut. Okay, so sperm will not be able to get out from the testis, right? If you cut here, the sperm will not be able to get out from the testis. So very simple procedure. Anyway, so now what is the function of the scrotum? Scrotum regulates the temperature inside it. Why that temperature regulation is very important? Because for the production of sperm by the testis, certain temperature is very important. Maintaining temperature is very important for sperm production. Okay, and that temperature should be lower than the body temperature, 3 degrees Celsius lower than the body temperature. And that's why the testes are not located inside the peritoneal, inside the body cavity. Testes are located outside. Why? Because inside the body the temperature is high. Make sense? So that's why testes are located outside of the body cavity, inside the scrotum, where you have lower temperature, because inside the body cavity the temperature is higher. Now, how the scrotum regulates the temperature? You see, this is interesting. If the body temperature increases, your body is here, body temperature increases, the dartus muscle and the cremaster muscle both relax. Muscles do what? Relax. Now when the dartus muscle relaxes, this one gets bigger, right? So scrotum moves down. That means away from the body. Make sense? If scrotum gets, relaxed, the size gets big, the testis will descend down more. Make sense? And also cremaster muscle relaxes, so it will get longer. Testis will go further down. Make sense? So we'll go away from the body because body temperature has increased, right? So it should go away from the body. Now, if the temperature outside of the body in cold weather is cold, then testis will try to do what? Go close to the body, because body temperature is always fixed, right? It will move up by the contraction of the cremaster muscle and dartus muscle. Both will contract. So what will happen? You see, pull it up. Make sense? So the testis will go close to the body and will stay what? Warm. Make sense? So that is important. Now here you see, this is the wall of the scrotum. We have a skin. superficial fascia and darkest muscle. Those three things, remember. In this side, they didn't remove the cremaster muscle. So you see the cremaster muscle, this one. And this is the spermatic cord. Now if you cut the spermatic cord and see inside, remove the muscles, what you will see rest of the structures that I have mentioned here. Okay? Ductus deferens, sorry, I spelled wrong here. Ductus deferens S. Okay? Ductus deferens. Those structures I have already mentioned. Production of sperm is called spermatogenesis. Genesis is production. And male gametes are sperm. We know testis produce sperm. Now, where in the testis the sperm are produced? Inside the testis, you have many lobules like this. So each part is a lobule. So inside the testis you have lobules. Okay. Separated by septa. So these are septa is plural. Okay. So you have septa. In between two septa, this is the lobule. Okay. This part is the lobule. This is another lobule. So make sense? Septa separate the lobules. How many lobules in each testis has? Each testis has about 250 to 300 lobules. Okay, so many lobules inside the testis. And in each lobule, if you see, inside each lobule, you have coiled tube-like structures like this. This one I showed three, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So in each lobule, you have spiral tube-like structures like this. These are very important structures. Okay, called seminiferous tubules. So these spiral tubes are called seminiferous tubules. How many seminiferous tubules you have in each lobule? Each lobule has 1 to 4 seminiferous tubules or spiral tubes. Now I said that these tubules, seminiferous tubules, are very important. Why? Because sperm are produced in the wall of these seminiferous tubules. Okay. Now let's take one seminiferous tubule. Okay, so it is a tube, so like this. Tube. Okay. Now if I make a cross section, just take a slice. This is the lumen and this is the wall. Okay, just take a slice of the tube. So you'll see the lumen inside, right, and the wall. Make sense? Okay. Now the spermatogenesis occurs in the wall of the seminiferous tubule. If you look at the outer area of the wall, you have stem cells here. These stem cells are called spermatozoa. So spermatozoa are the stem cells. Then these stem cells multiply by mitosis. So here the stem cells produce new cells. We all know that stem cells produce what? New cells. You already know that, right? So stem cells are there in the outer part of the wall, and they are always doing what? Producing new cells by mitosis. Is it clear? By what? Mitosis is the cell division, right? To produce new cells. And these new cells move towards the lumen. And as they move towards the lumen, they go through changes, okay? And at last stage, this is interesting, what happens? They become like this, elongated, long, and get tailed like this. So spermatozoa are the stem cells, and they multiply by mitosis to produce new cells, and new cells start to move towards what? The lumen. Is it clear? And as they move towards the lumen, they get more mature, right? And go through a number of steps. And when they go very close to the lumen, their shape, configuration changes. They become elongated, gets a head, body, and a tail. And that is the mature sperm. Okay, mature sperm. And these are called spermatogonia. So spermatozoa finally becomes what? Spermatogonia. Make sense? So most mature and most earliest spermatozoa, right? And most mature is what? Spermatogonia, plural. Spermatogonium, if I say gonium, that is one, okay? Gonia, plural. Okay, so that's how spermatogenesis occurs in the wall of the seminiferous tubule. And then what happens? This mature sperm get detached from the wall and enter into the lumen like this. They enter into the lumen, and then it starts to get out. They start to get out through the pathway. So that is what happens. Here you see, this is the testis and septum. That means this is a lobule, and the spiral tubes are seminiferous tubes, right? Now, outside of the testis, you have another structure which looks like a C shape. Shape is like a C, like this. That is called epididymis. Comma or C-shaped structure attached to the testis, and this is called epididymis. Epididymis. Let's see here. Should be here. This one. Oh, this one. It's like this one. Let's spell it wrong. Yeah. So, epididymis is a C-shaped or comma-shaped structure that is attached to the testis. Okay. Now, what happens is, see, we know that a sperm is produced in the wall of the seminiferous tubule and get detached and enter into the lumen, and then start to move, try to get out. First, they will enter into this short, straight tube, and that is called straight tubule. Very short, but not spiral, straight. And then enters into a network of tubules. And this structure network is called retitestis. So from seminiferous tubules through the straight tubules, sperm enter into the retitestis, that network of tubules. Then from retitestis taken to the epididymis by the efferent dactyls. So these are efferent dactyls. Take the sperm from the retitestis to the epididymis. Now, epididymis has three parts. You see, this is the head part, this is the body, and this is the tail. So first, sperm enters into the head part of epididymis, then go through the body of the epididymis and reaches at the tail, okay? And then goes this way and enters into the ductus deferens or vas deferens, the tubule, okay? And get out from the scrotum, okay? So ductus deferens is the duct or tube that takes the sperm out finally. Okay? So ductus deferens enters into the spermatic cord, you already know that. Okay? So that's the pathway of sperm. Sperm pass through those structures. Straight tubule, retitestis, efferent ductule, head of epididymis, body, tail of epididymis, then ductus deferens or vas deferens. Okay? Yeah. So not done yet. Okay. So just got out from the scrotum. Then it will go through other structures. Just remember that enters into what? Ductus deferens or vas deferens, right? And gets out from the scrotum. Remember that. We'll start from there again. So, then from ductus deferens, sperm enters into the ejaculatory duct, another tube in the pelvic part of the body, and then urethra. Okay? Here you see the whole thing. So this is the ductus deferens, right? From the tail of the epididymis, this is the ductus deferens. It is a long tube, you see. This is the urinary bladder, this is the prostate. So it goes along the upper surface of the urinary bladder like this, and then becomes the ejaculatory duct here. But one thing here, you see the ductus deferens, the end part of ductus deferens, this part is expanded. And expanded part of a tube is called ampulla. You remember ampulla, hepatopancreatic ampulla, the wider part, end part gets dilated or wide. That's the ampulla. So this is the ampulla of ductus deferens, the end expanded part or portion. Then the sperm enters into the ejaculatory duct and then the urethra. Okay? This is the urethra, gets out from the body. So that is the entire pathway of the sperm. If I ask you, let's quickly review. If I ask you, sperm is produced where?
In the lobules.
In the wall.
Wall of the seminiferous tubules. That's the specific answer. You can say inside the scrotum, that's not wrong, but you need to be specific, right? Inside the scrotum you have so many things. So in the wall of the seminiferous tube, and then enters into the lumen, right? Then through the straight tubule, let's go back, straight tubule, this short tubule enters into the network of tubules, that is called what? Reti testis. Make sense? Then through the efferent ductules, they get out from reti testis and enters into which part of epididymis?
The head,
Head. This part is easy, right? Then
the body,
then
tail.
tail. And then from the tail enters into the ductus deferens or vas deferens. Make sense? And that's a long tube, right? Runs, then go over the surface of the urinary bladder, right? And the end part of ductus deferens is what?
Ampulla.
Narrow or expanded? Expanded. And that is called ampulla of ductus deferens. Make sense? And then sperm enters into the ejaculatory duct, then into the urethra, gets out. Is it clear? Okay. This is the wall of the seminiferous tubule. So you see, you have the stem cells here, then different stages of maturation, and finally they become elongated, like gets body and tail. And this is the lumen of the seminiferous tubule. Okay. Penis is also a part of external genitalia or organ of external genitalia, scrotum and penis. So we have talked about the scrotum. Now we'll see the penis. The penis has three parts. If we divide, the end part is called the glans penis, this part, and then the shaft or body, and the root. So root, shaft or body, and glans penis. Three parts, okay? Now if you see inside the penis, you have other structures. You have corpora cavernosa and corpora or corpus spongiosa. So if I see a cross section, this is the urethra, you know that, and around the urethra like this you have a kind of muscular structure. This is called corpus spongiosum. Spongiosum around the urethra. Okay? And then you have two other structures like this. A lot of sinuses, spaces inside, filled with blood, blood-filled sinuses. So these two are called corpora cavernosa. Okay? So now you tell me, inside the penis you have, around the urethra you have what? Around the urethra, corpus spongiosum. Is it clear? How many? One. And in both sides you have what? Corpora cavernosa. Okay? So two. And I said that corpora cavernosa are filled with sinuses. Okay? Filled with sinuses. Now, corpora cavernosa are very important for the enlargement and erection of penis. Make sense? Enlargement and what? Erection. What is the mechanism? Very simple. inside the corpora cavernosa, you have arteries. So artery, central artery, and blood gets out from these arteries and enter into those sinuses, spaces, and fill those sinuses with blood. And when a lot of blood gets out and fill those sinuses, that makes the enlargement, causes the enlargement and erection. Okay, so the mechanism is blood. Blood gets out and fill those sinuses. Make sense? Those empty spaces. So that is the mechanism. And then when the blood gets back, that's the opposite happens. Is it clear? Okay. So here, you see these two are corpora cavernosa, arteries. Those are called deep arteries, also called central artery, and urethra. Urethra is inside